This is a Headgum podcast.
I am the youngest of four. I've always had an ease in social situations, in making friends. However, what I think I have now realized in therapy, and also...
I do believe we all share the same therapist.
I think so.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And that therapist is you, the audience. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful every week that we can send you so much money.
Hi, Jessi Klein.
Hi, Liz Feldman. It's me, Jessi Klein.
Hi, I'm so glad it's you. It would be very weird if it were suddenly someone else. I like your very cute situation that's happening. Is this a jumper or a romper?
Neither. I
Cool.
refer to this as a jumpsuit. And the thing about wearing a jumpsuit is, infamously, you have to do a tits out pee when you wear a jumpsuit.
Yes,
and
of course.
I was doing my tits out pee in the bathroom here at Headgum.
Yep.
And I locked the door. And I've had to do a tits out pee a million times. I love wearing a jumpsuit.
Yeah, obviously.
And then
You also love saying tits out pee.
I do. And then I was thinking, like, no matter how sure I am that I've locked the door,
Oh, you're never totally sure.
when I'm doing this kind of pee,
Oh my God.
I'm never sure enough. And then as I was peeing, I thought that could be like a Shark Tank pitch.
Oh.
It's a extra lock for when you're doing a jumpsuit tits out pee that you can clamp over the door to
you can
be
clamp over
doubly
the-
sure.
Oh, I like it. I like it. But it's
Hey,
only
sharks.
for... Hey, sharks.
Hey, Sharks, I'm looking for $60 million in exchange for 0.8%.
My first thought would be about the evaluation.
Okay, go.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I just know they always say that.
Anyway,
On Shark Tank.
long story
Anyway,
short, I'm wearing a jumpsuit.
You're wearing a jumpsuit. I didn't know about the tits out because I'm not a jumpsuit wearer. Can't wear them. Don't look it on me.
Never seen you in a jumpsuit.
No, you'll never see it. You'll never see it.
Okay, I feel a little sad
I'm very
about it.
short-waisted, so jumpsuits don't fit me correctly.
We've already talked just when we were getting ready about the level of dysmorphia that you and I
both have.
have.
Well, you have facial dysmorphia
100%.
because you're a beautiful gal.
Stop it.
And you're like, look at my face, and I'm
I'm a
like, looking at a
schnauzer.
gorgeous person.
But then I said the same thing about you.
that I was a schnauzer.
No. No, and you're not a schnauzer. Neither of us are.
Here's the thing: if I was a dog, I wouldn't be a schnauzer.
No, I was
Yeah.
about to say you'd be a golden doodle.
Oh, thank you, because nobody's allergic to me.
No one's allergic to you because your
No.
personality is so
Oh,
good.
you're nice, but I'm also like there's always something a little wrong with a golden doodle. Like,
Well,
they're so
they look like they could walk on their hind legs even if they can't. Should we jump into the thing that
Yes.
we said we were going to talk about?
Yes. So this is interesting. This is like, we're a few episodes in
Where we've got a few under our belt.
for this show that we're still in the process. It's a learning curve. It's a whip,
It's a
if you will.
bell
It's
jar.
a work in progress.
Yes.
And we were talking about how we feel like the shows are going and how our
Well.
chit-chats are going.
It's going well.
Really well.
Yes.
Award winning.
Yes.
Ambi award winning.
Ambien award winning.
Ambien award winning.
Yes.
Zambian award winning.
My favorite drug.
Yes. We just won a podcast award from Zambia, as it turns out.
What?
Yep, it's coming in the mail. So anyway, we had a really interesting chat about it on Friday. We were doing a little photo shoot.
Brag.
Sorry, not to, but we are people who get our photos taken
With our
professionally.
professional photos
were
of
doing
us
it
were taken.
for this
the
podcast
pod.
program. And
Program.
then we were sort of doing like a little like, how's it going? How we doing? And we came to a really interesting place where we realized that, when we started out doing the show, you had the thought like, wouldn't it be fun to sort of ask each other advice at the beginning of every
just like
episode?
an asking for a friend.
Like an asking for a friend.
Like, what do I need my friend for this week?
Right.
Like, what do I need my friend to tell me?
And here's the thing. When you first brought that up, I was like, yeah, sure. Like we could do that. But for some reason, it didn't like totally, I don't know, like.
I mean, you seemed very enthusiastic about it.
Well, I'm a yes-ander.
You are. And I appreciate that about
course,
you.
I want to yes-and you. I want you to feel worthy and understood and
We're
heard
going to
and
get to this.
seen.
This is the heart of the conversation.
Heart of it. So then I realized as we did a few of those that I felt really weird every time I did my asking for a friend.
And talk about why.
Because I realized that I don't go to my friends for advice.
And this is where I put down my Botanica glass of wine and I was like, tell me more about this. We started talking about like what kind of friend what kind of friend are you? Or what kind of friend am I?
And what kind of friend
Do you need? And we realized
that you're the kind of friend
that it was just interesting when you said that because I don't relate to that at all.
that you wouldn't go to a friend for advice.
Well, but I also was not surprised to hear you say it because I think of you as one of the most confident people that I know in a beautiful way.
That's very nice.
And having worked with you, it's something that I admire and have felt like, oh, I wish I could put that in a bottle. Like
Listen,
just your...
well, you have another bottle. And it's also very tasty.
What's my bottle?
Well, your bottle is
self-loathing.
Self-expression. I would say.
Self-expression.
I think you express yourself really beautifully, and so like when you're asking for a friend, like you sort of launch into this like hilarious story. I called you a raconteur. You didn't like it.
I feel like raconteur is like a fancy way of saying a snooze.
No. I think a raconteur is a great storyteller for those of you
Also, I
listening
don't know how to
home.
say it. A raconteur.
Am I saying it right? Raconteur.
Yeah, you got it.
Raconteur. But I mean, like I could listen to you talk all day. You're an author.
And
and you write about your life beautifully. And I felt like when I don't know, it was this weird moment where I was like, oh, I don't ask advice of my friends. And you were like, where do you get your advice from?
Yeah, how do you...
Well, Donna,
our mutual therapist. You go to her, but even you said you weren't really going to her for advice. You talked about more as strategy.
Yeah, more strategy. And like, my wife Rachel, I run things off of her, but I actually talked about it with Donna this morning, and she's like, no, you just need to talk. Like you need to say things out loud and you need to vent.
It's a process for you.
It's a process. And then I sort of weirdly, I think, give my own advice to myself, if that's something.
I mean, this feels so healthy to me.
Is it, or am I destined for a life of loneliness?
Well, no, you're already, never, no.
No.
But as always, I kind of brought things that you were just sort of saying about yourself in a positive way and then thought about how does this relate to me in a negative way. But I was like, am I too needy of a friend? Because this was a conversation that came up with another guest who talked about not ever wanting to be the needy friend.
Right.
And I've been doing some real self-reflection, I guess.
I would not describe you as needy. I would describe you as somebody who is open and not afraid to be vulnerable.
I think I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. Yes, and I don't think I'm needy in terms of like whining, like, why haven't you, like, can we go hang out?
Yeah.
Like,
no,
you're not letting me down.
You're not like a cloying person.
I'm not, am I? I don't think I'm cloying, but I do think I do need friends I need a lot of reassurance.
Yeah, you need a lot of reassurance.
I need a lot of reassurance, and I try to ask for it in a way that feels self-aware, because the rule where if you're self-aware about a bad quality of yours, it's not bad anymore.
Cancels it out.
It cancels it out if you're like, I know. But I do feel like I try to ask for reassurance in a humorous way, but I do really need it. And you
here's the
don't.
thing. I don't, but I need to give it.
Do you?
I do. I really like being a friend that...
My voice got so high. Do you?
I do. I really do. I think like one of my porpoises
one of your porpoises
on Earth is to be a friend to people and to...
You're a great friend.
Thank you. I think you're a great friend.
I mean, I try to be. I guess I just hope that my need for reassurance doesn't feel like too much.
It doesn't
too
feel
big of a flave.
No, because to me, like, friendship is about connection, and it's like, how do you search for connection? And I think your point of entry into connection is like, hey, what do you think about this shirt?
Hey,
what do you?
Am I going to die alone?
Am I going to die alone?
To what we were just talking about.
And I feel like
and that's where you could say.
That's where I could say, no, you're not going to die alone, Jessi Klein. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if she's going to die alone.
I mean,
I don't have a crystal.
But if I were
geyser.
to text a crystal geyser,
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry to say
God,
hello. I just wanted to say hi. I've just been sitting here having my water, and I just wanted to say hi.
You're like, I just wanted to interrupt just to let Jessi know there's a really good chance she will die alone.
That we will all die alone, and I won't bother you guys
Okay,
anymore.
no, cool.
Just wanted
And you
to
know
say
what?
hi.
That's all we needed you for today.
thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Your black card's outside.
My point was, I just think that like people find connection in their own way, and I think that your way of finding connection or instigating connection is by reaching out and being like, "Hey, I have this question in my head, and like, what do you think the answer might be?" And I feel like I just like to feel connected, and I feel more comfortable, I think, as the answerer
As the answerer.
than the asker.
God bless.
So maybe we're perfect friends for each other.
Should we kiss? But do you feel you need
Slowly
the yin yang
hold
of it?
hands?
Do you feel like you as do two answerers
No.
make a good friend pair?
Yes, I do. I think so. Because
Okay.
I think like Kelly, for example, our mutual
beloved
friend, great listener, great answerer.
Great. Both.
Both.
So good at both.
Both. And listen, if I could just reassure you that you don't need too much reassuring,
Okay.
let me do that for you.
Okay. Because I will say I do really well also making friends with people who I sense need as much. Like a text thread with a friend where it's like,
Yes.
am I a piece of shit monster who's going to die alone? And it's like, no, am I?
Yes.
know?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, but it takes all kinds.
It takes all kinds.
Hashtag it takes all kinds.
Hashtag it takes all kinds.
Yeah, but I think like the yin and yang can work, but I also think like congruous people can work.
Congruous.
You know, I think there's like complementary and there's congruous.
What does congruous mean versus
the
complementary?
the same type of like, as opposed to people who complement each other. Congruous would be like people who are moving sort of in the same direction.
Same direction.
Yeah.
Makes sense that you
Wow.
got married and here I am.
By the way, I got married to a very yin yang situation. Rachel is very much, I don't know which one, but she's one of them.
She's one
to my other one.
Where is she on the spectrum of
Friend needing?
friend? Yeah,
She's a loner. Yeah, I married a loner.
Really?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't see that with Rachel.
I mean, she has friends and she's social,
She's
but
so
she
socially
doesn't.
graceful and warm.
She doesn't need people the way that I do. She's definitely an introvert who recharges by being alone.
I see it in the introvert extrovert
Yeah.
of it all. You
Yeah.
do really. You are a person who needs people who need people.
Yeah, I do. I'm an emotional vampire.
Luckiest people.
Speaking of emotional vampires,
Oh,
today,
great segue. Yeah, we have someone very exciting.
we
here
really
today.
do, and I'm really, really just
I'm
honored and
orienting
so
my
happy
body towards him.
that his cute face is here.
Oh, what a put him on this one.
I know. Today's friend is an actor, producer, writer, and comedian who's one of the funniest people we know.
That's for sure.
He created and starred in Kroll Show, not to mention Oh Hello on Broadway. He starred in The League, co-created and starred in Big Mouth and
okay.
Human Resources, as well as History of the World Part 2. Nick Kroll,
You're here to make friends. Hi, Nick Kroll.
Nick
Hi,
Kroll.
guys. I really am here to make friends.
We really are here to try to make better friends
Great.
with you.
Let's get started.
Let's get started.
Here's the
And we
thing,
need
like-
you to be open-hearted
Yeah.
Vulnerable.
and vulnerable.
All
All
right.
the things we were just discussing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was in my car right before I got in here, and I said, Nick, I turned off Ezra Klein. I said, once I turned off Ezra Klein, I said, Nick, it's time to tear down those walls.
Nick?
Nick?
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down those walls.
Tear.
Yep.
tear-
Good Lord.
Mr. Gorbanik. Tear down the wall. Why is the wall not coming down? You asked the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
why.
So
that's
and,
why.
and here we are.
And here we are.
And now those walls
Yeah.
are torn, and
And look what happened.
look what happened.
happened.
The beautiful friendship has blossomed.
I mean, I think Liz wanted to start by tearing down some walls. With
Well, here's what I was going to do.
Okay.
I was going to bear a little bit of my soul to you by telling you that I have had a friend crush on you for easily a decade.
Look at this vulnerability.
I swear. I don't know if it was Kroll Show or if it was like some stuff that you were doing, Funny or Die. I feel like we crossed paths.
Mhm.
Brags.
I was like, this guy is my kind of guy.
This guy's my kind of guy.
Says
Well,
the
I'll tell you-
lesbian.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what I mean by that. Like you have the makings of such a good lesbro.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh,
like-
thank
like,
you.
Yeah,
I've
for
never
sure.
heard that term
Me
before.
neither.
Well, here we are, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Ready to
right.
be educated. And
A
thank you for this labor.
You're so welcome. A lesbro, in my estimation, is a straight man
Check.
who is funny, sensitive, smart, emotionally available,
Mhm.
and like a good buddy.
Mm-hmm.
somebody, you know, you could go out with, you could wingman with, you could, you know, go away for the weekend, go to the movie, like a dude friend, just a good old dude friend. But beyond just that, like, I knew you were a good person. We do have a shared manager in common, in Christy Smith, and so we met through her. But during the pandemic, we had some really sweet moments because it was, you know, we weren't allowed to, like, you know, socialize, see each other, be human beings.
Yeah,
and
I don't remember.
Oh, you don't? Oh,
No.
yeah. Oh, it was. I'll remind you. I'll tell you
Jessi
later.
moved through COVID with such ease.
It felt like home.
Yeah.
It felt like coming home. Go on. I'm sorry.
So we had the opportunity to watch the World Series together outside at Christy's house, and like it was. I just was so happy to spend that time with you, but it was also sort of weird because we were all in a weird space.
Sure.
But, you know.
But yeah.
Anyway, I just want to say, first of all, I've been a huge fan of yours, comedically speaking, for years and years and years. But beyond that, I just was like, that's a guy I could be friends with.
Well, can I just say, I would love to rename the podcast Comedically Speaking. Let me start there.
Note taken.
Well, I appreciate hearing that, and I really have always loved you. And it is this funny thing where we do share a manager, which is an interesting thing to share.
Yes, it is.
Because it's like you have this like parent or a person who you are seemingly like you're connected to, but also you could be slightly like in competition for attention or whatever, however it could work. Although I don't really feel that way ever, but I'm like, there is a world where that could be like a thing.
Yeah, that could be the dynamic
but
if
it's,
you were an
no,
asshole.
it's not.
I guess, but
and we have pitched lesbro around town and people love it. They're just not. It's,
they're
people
not
are
ready.
buying.
Yeah,
People
people
are buying.
are
Like
buying.
they used to.
What are they buying?
We're ahead of ourselves,
And that's fine.
It's
and
fine.
it's fine.
Survive till 25. Oh wait, what
Oh,
year
shit.
is that? Okay.
Night.
But I as you bring up that watching the World Series outside, it was like in that part where we were like socializing, but it was still kind of outside.
Yeah.
And it was before we realized how good that isolation would be for everybody, and how important that would be to make how strong everyone feels having come out of
Absolutely.
it.
How
Yes.
the ties that bind got tighter.
Untouched.
Yes.
Yes.
That we are, many more of us will die alone.
Wow.
Because of what
Love
happened.
that you wanted to circle back.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, but I have a very clear memory of that night and hanging out and feeling how important that moment was actually for me as like a human being.
Yes.
In that the isolation of COVID and recently, and like my wife being pregnant, and it was just like it was, you know, obviously such a crazy time. And then when you share people, you also then share like milestones and things like that. So it's like, you know, weddings and but it was funny at the wedding when we hung out, I got a sense of you. I'd never been with you when you're a little rascal. We're like late in an evening,
we were
like
late in an
Liz
evening
can
together.
turn into a little bossy
mischievous
little
elf.
mischievous elf. Yeah.
Blonde little doodle elf.
Are you referring to me completely crashing Allie Bree's hotel room and being like, "We're hanging out"?
Yeah, but it was it was a new color that I really like enjoyed. But I was like, wow, this is a new color. When you meet people and over time you get to know people in a different way, especially people you don't get to know till older. Like you and I have known each other. I feel like you and I have known each other for so long. That
How
I
long
feel
have you
like
guys known each other?
Over 20 years.
over 20.
Wow.
It was, yeah. We'll
Over
get.
20.
We'll get to
We're
this.
gonna get there.
We're gonna
Let's
get
stay
there.
on this little elf for a minute. I want to know what happened in Allie Bree's hotel room.
You know,
Nothing illegal.
Nothing.
Okay,
Nothing that is no longer illegal in the state of California. We broke no laws. I mean, we were shouting on a balcony.
Sure were.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Maybe that.
that's
Maybe
legal.
that
And there
wasn't
were like 8 of us, so definitely over the weight limit.
Yeah.
Definitely over the weight limit on that.
Especially
I
after
don't
the-
like that.
Yeah.
I don't like. I always
Yeah.
worried on a hotel balcony.
Yeah,
that
no,
it's gonna fall.
Really?
it crossed
Yeah.
my mind while we were
Yeah.
out there.
Well, that's one of the worst ways to die alone. Or I guess
Yeah.
if that's happening,
Well,
you're
you know,
dying
we
together.
died together.
Yeah.
Dying together.
Yeah.
So now you guys have known each other over 20
Over
years.
20 years.
That's
Yeah.
that's a lengthy friendship.
I
That's
have
a lengthy
actually a
friendship.
tremendous amount of pride in our friendship over these many years.
Me too.
Yeah.
I do. And this is actually something that we wanted to ask you about. I feel like one of the things that from the beginning, when I first started to get to know you and was meeting, you were living with Drew, who's one of your
oldest friends. Yeah.
When did you guys meet?
We met freshman year of college.
Yeah. But then I feel like I got to meet like a lot of people that you were friends with who you've known for really long, like friends from elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was always so like impressed by and touched by the fact that I feel like more than the average person, I feel like you have really strong bonds with people that you grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just curious, like, do you feel like that's something that you put like specific effort into, or that you've consciously thought like as your whole life, like friendships are really valuable to me? Or is it just, it's easy for you because you're so fucking charming?
I mean, look, do I move through the day like Kelly Slater on a half pipe? Can I surf a day?
Can you surf a fucking day?
Can I surf a social situation with ease? It's the thing that I maybe have the most ease with, but I have been able to maintain one or two friends from every period of my life.
Era
of my life.
That's very impressive and
I'm
rare.
not wearing the bracelets from the door.
Oh my God. She wants you to wear the bracelets.
Wouldn't it be crazy if I had been the one going to every one of those Eras shows with Nikki Glaser and I never got a single mention? I was her plus one to all 22.
Wow.
And she never mentions me once.
I love
Nikki.
that Nikki likes what she likes. I love her unabashed
Oh my
attendance
gosh.
of all
She's
the Taylor
hilarious.
Swift
I
shows.
love it.
I love it.
And I would love if once in a while I could just be in one of the pictures or stories because the family gets in and
Sure,
I'm not.
she's
Anyway,
there.
That's not what we're here to talk
No,
about.
it's not.
That's
It's
for
not.
my podcast
That's
with
Nikki Glaser.
Nikki
And
Glaser.
Nikki
yeah.
Searching
Glaser
for
and
Nikki.
Kelly Slater.
Yeah. So, but I have been able to every sort of era of my life. I have kept one or two friends. Like Drew was like my roommate in college throughout, and then I have those improv guys that then become my, like Mulaney and Birbiglia and all those people
From college.
From college, also from my improv group in college. But every pocket I have.
Andrew Goldberg,
who I created Big Mouth with, who I've known since first grade.
Since first grade.
Incredible.
That's incredible.
It
That's
really
I
truly
mean,
is.
it really is incredible.
That's incredible, and all of Big Mouth is like I'm very proud of the show, but I'm very proud of how we made it, and also that show starts with me and Andrew Goldberg being friends since first grade, best friends from middle school. Then we go to different high schools, then both get into comedy separately in very different ways, and then come back together to make this show 30 years after the time when we were making it, about, or something like that. And that 25 years, whatever it was. And then, but the show is then populated with you and Mulaney and Jenny and Manzukis, who are all people who I then meet in New York from like, I meet Jessi my second or third open mic going to the Parkside Lounge,
Famously.
like early 2002, right after 9/11. To me, one of the greatest meet cutes of my life by far.
Please,
a very Nora Ephron meet
So
cute.
I'm walking down Houston on the way to the Parkside Lounge on Attorney in Houston. I just started doing open mics, like literally I'd done like 2 open mics, and I'd heard about this Tuesday night show, and I'm walking down the street, and a girl in front of me trips on the street, and I'm like, uh-oh, I'm gonna tell everyone. And she like looked and smiled, and she was like, please don't tell anyone what happened. And we have this like moment. I was like, I should keep talking to this beautiful, like funny, charming woman who has not denied me.
The bar is at not denied.
Yeah. And then I don't. And then she crossed the street. I go to Katz's and get a hot dog. And then I go to this open mic.
Is that where you disappeared to?
I went to I got an all natural casing hot dog. I can still feel the snap off that Katz's hot dog. Yeah.
Wait, this is
a pre-open mic hot dog from Katz's.
I never knew about the hot dog stop.
You're like, I didn't know why you smelled like hot dog burps when I saw you, but
this is so weird.
like just
little me water.
choking down a Dr. Brown's dark cherry, and just like snapping off a natural casing hot dog and then burping in your face.
We've told this story many times. I've never known about the hot dog.
It was a cat's, and then I walk
it
into
really rounds it out.
I walk into the back room, this open mic, Joey Gay and Damien. And I walk in and she's there, and I was like, oh my God. And then you would pick names out of a hat, everyone pay $7, and it was a completely random process. And so you could
and it
walk
felt really good to pay to perform, I'll tell you.
And you could pick and be like 39th and have to wait through 38 open mic comedians.
Have
And
to go
still
get
pay
that second hot dog.
Still pay that $7. Sneak back there.
Yeah.
Get a pastrami. Try to stuff a huge half of pastrami.
Guess I'll go get a little blintz.
Just dislocate your jaw over that.
Blueberry blintz in a to-go bag.
Open up your throat and try to anaconda down a massive pastrami sandwich.
Snake mouse down a blintz. Anyways, and then I was like, he's here.
Yes, you saw me.
I saw you.
Yeah.
You saw me. I was like, oh, there's the guy from the street.
I've got to ask the question, did you ever date?
Ever so briefly.
Yeah. So we then. So
This feels like a revelation.
I was like, well, this is
fake.
and
This is Nora Ephron.
She was still is so cute. It was
So
just
cute.
like, this is
God.
a dream. So she walked out after the numbers were pulled, and I was like, what?
Yeah, I think I was like, I'm not staying.
Yeah, and I was like,
that feels
I was
right.
like, where are you going? Like, you know, and you're like, I'm leaving, but I'm kind of getting ready. I feel like you maybe just were telling me, but I thought you were kind of telling me. You were probably just telling me, but that's how.
I think I was just like, I'm leaving.
Yeah, and I was like, you were like, I'm going to go do this show at like Luna Lounge next week, and I was like, and I was like, find out what Luna Lounge is.
Note to self, speaking into your tape recorder you carried around all the time.
Burping a blintz.
Note to
Having
self,
a sour
allergic to
cream
natural dog. Also, follow girl to Luna.
So I then made a point of going the next week to see her at Luna Lounge, and then walking into like Luna Lounge, which was the thing.
place.
And it was like, I feel like it was like you and Sarah Silverman and like Roseanne Barr's first comeback. And
I thought you were going to say her first cousin.
yeah.
I don't remember her being
Jackie
up
Barr.
there.
Yeah,
You
it
know
was Jackie
Jackie
Barr.
Barr.
You remember Jackie Barr?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
now I do remember
Sarah
Jackie
Silverman,
Barr.
Jesse Klein, Jackie Barr.
Yeah.
So I sort of hound you at that point, then see her, and then she gets on stage and is so funny and charming
killed.
and like just defining adorkable.
Yes.
Generationally
Truly.
defining
Stop it.
adorkable.
Stop
Yeah,
it. Well,
and-
can I interject?
Mm-hmm.
Can I say in terms of, so that's how we met
Mm-hmm.
and we became friends. I just need to say that I'm just noticing your sock that says women stand-up comedy. And I both love it and feel a little condescended to it. But also I want that sock.
I don't
They're
love
best
being
selling. They're
Did
best
you
selling.
wear them
Best
for
selling.
us? I think you did.
I did not realize. Here, am I cloying? Am I?
It's clearly a
these-
novelty sock.
It's a great sock.
It's a novelty
She gives
sock.
these socks out when you do her show, and they're just so
Wait, who gives
comfortable.
them out?
Beth Stelling.
Oh,
It's a
that's
great
selling. Sure.
sock.
So I now wear them. Socks are those things. If I get free socks and they're comfortable, I'll wear them. I want to say I hate women's stand-up comedy.
Okay, I'm so
Understood.
glad you said it. Yeah.
Yeah,
good.
we're all
I
thinking
love
good.
women and I love stand-up comedy, but I
hate when they overlap.
I
stand-up
hate
comedy. But you
women's
love the socks.
stand-up comedy.
You
Yeah.
just love the
And I
women's
love the
stand-up
socks.
comedy
You're like, it's really hard for me because I hate the thing, but I love the sock.
So
So,
I made a choice.
Remember when I said that thing about you being a lesbro?
Yeah, I was like falling off.
yeah,
Falling
he
off
fell
on
off. But what I was
off.
going to say was, so we became friends, and in terms of like just talking about people who know you
Mm-hmm.
and see you grow and connect with you and then carry that through many, many, many years. At some point, we were having, because then Nick and I did a show at Rafifi for many years.
Right, so
together.
this is a
Yeah.
testament to the friendship. We date for a little bit. It was not, it was like early,
So you have kissed.
We both,
Mm-hmm.
we have, but we both realized we don't like Jews.
Mhm.
Neither of us wanted
Yeah.
to
both
be with
as a partner,
as a partner,
as a
as
people.
ourselves.
Wait a second. Guys, I have terrible news for you.
Yeah. What?
I'm a Jew.
What? No. I look
Feldman?
at you. All I see is like I just see you as a cartoon of a cat says hot dog.
That's all
Hungry
I've
like
been
a
seeing.
cartoon, like all I
All
see is
you've
like
been
turkey
seeing is
drum leg.
Oh, yes, and I do give hot dog burps. So that's perfect.
Oh my title of up.
But so I just was gonna say that we briefly date and then stay friendly, but then decide to then host a show together.
At Rafifi.
That's very mature, I would say, especially at a young age.
Young
Well,
age,
I
yeah.
also because I've always adored Nick
Mhm.
and really was like he is so funny and so fun to hang out with
Mhm.
and then also just like made me laugh like nobody else.
Yeah.
And so I was like, let's there were no podcasts.
Yeah.
So we had to do a show. But at some point we were just talking to each other about sort of like, I don't know, like our comedy and like how we saw each other. And Nick was like, I see your identity on stage as sort of like dirty nerdy.
Oh, that is
And-
so good.
And it was like, it sort of
Gave you your whole.
it was like, oh, I see, like, I
Mhm.
don't love it, but
I see it.
I see it. But I see it.
Yeah.
And it kind of like, yeah, it was.
And it defined a generation.
It defined a generation of hot dogs. I think part of why you are a good friend is
Mhm.
because I think you are someone who really sees people and connects with people.
Thank you.
Well, yeah,
I think
sorry.
that's
I
a wonderful
appreciate
compliment.
that.
Were you someone who always had an easy time making friends? Like, did you ever feel socially awkward in a platonic, just friend setting as an awkward kid, or were you always sort of graceful in that space?
Were
Well,
you
I-
always the graceful elk you are now?
The graceful
Yes,
elk.
thank you. Thank you for both of those adjectives.
I'm surprised that elk.
Elk.
I don't know. It came to mind.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I don't seem like an elk to you.
Oh, well, I just
Wow.
think of elk as like honestly a slightly uglier deer.
Oh,
I
see, I
thought-
think
I
they
think they're
seem like
beautiful and more
like
More
beautiful.
majestic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I guess everybody's likes and dislikes come out in the show.
I am the youngest of four. I've always had an ease in social situations, in making friends. However, what I think I have now realized in therapy, and also
I do believe we all share the same therapist.
I think so.
Okay,
Yep.
cool.
And that therapist is you, the audience. And we're so grateful. We're so grateful every week that we can send you so much money. What I have realized now in more recent years is I've always had an ease in making friends. I've always been an extrovert. I think a genuine extrovert who can be introverted at times, but genuinely gains energy from social interactions. So like even getting the call about this, there's not a moment of anxiety about doing this, like with you guys. Like I'm like, of course,
Oh.
like I don't get to see my friends and now we get to put it on the internet.
I mean,
What a
We can upload this.
we can upload this, but also slice out
airdrop
the least attractive parts of it.
When I said I think elks are ugly,
Yeah.
no one likes that.
Yeah.
we're keeping in the butt.
Is an
Oh,
elk
yeah.
a moose?
What?
Is an elk a moose?
No.
No,
Okay,
A
I
moose
think I
is-
meant.
but all moose are elk.
Wait a minute.
Guys,
They're of an elk. They're of an ilk. An
elk
elk.
and moose are of an elk.
Yeah, they're of an
Yeah,
elk.
they're
Of
of an
an
elk.
elk.
It's a thing. It's
Yeah.
a type.
Alright.
Look, it's a type.
Truman Capote's here. Ladies
So,
and gentlemen.
and then they all died. I don't know. I don't know anything.
I don't
I've never
know
seen a
either. I don't
single
know either.
Capote. I don't know Capote at all. I have realized though that what I do is I had lunch with a camp friend recently.
You have so many camp friends.
You
I
just
have
have
one
a
or
lot
two-
of friends.
yeah,
You have a lot of friends.
I have a lot of, again, friends from particular moments I have maintained relationships with. And we had lunch recently. He's sort of, in part, who the Seth
this
Rogen
Ben?
character was based on in Big Mouth. We had a camp season,
Yes.
or camp episodes where it was like a camp friend came in between me and Andrew. And this is based on another friend of ours. It was extended over like a few years. But I had lunch with him and he was like, we were talking about camp, and the last couple of summers at camp, there was a guy who just like got under my skin in a way. And like, he was like, you really wanted that friendship with him. And he was like a bully and a dick. And you kind of like wanted the friendship with him. And it kind of made you so upset. And he was like, but you were kind of always insecure like that. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
I have not heard that take on me.
Q song.
What's that?
Q
Yeah.
song.
But I was like, he's right. Like he said, it's like 30 years removed, and it was unbiased, and it was interestingly like, yes, he's right. Like there is this part of me in certain friendships, and it really got bad into high school where I did not like feel at ease with my friends, and it has become at times like a note in my friendships, in certain friendships,
Like wanting to be liked,
to be liked, and wanting to be friends with some group of people who I believe mean something at whatever place or stage of it all.
And was this like a function, do you think, of like being in high school, when that's just sort of, I think, endemic?
Yes.
Or do you feel like when your friend said this to you, which I think is very interesting, did you feel like you recognized that at all as something present now, or was it just in that moment?
I think it was very, like so many of the things, it was like unpolished then, and much more, it just was like, so whatever that is now still continues, but it's been sort of worn away but it's like, I just went to like the Vanity Fair party.
Notice? Give us the scoop, please. You looked hot.
You did look beautiful.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. I didn't even think about what I was looking like. It never even crossed my mind what I was going to look like.
Was that what you slept in the night before?
Yeah.
You just woke up?
You just rolled
out? Did you almost wear a naked dress?
How
I was
embarrassing would
wearing
that
one
have been?
underneath.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Those
but
have to stop.
the naked dresses?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not a
stop
fan.
it.
I'm not a fan.
What about a
Stop
big t-shirt of a naked dress?
That I'm
That's
great with.
different. I like that. That's a statement.
I love, or a naked dress over a big t-shirt, like a big
Oh my
Garfield
God,
shirt
yeah.
under your under your
Like all bunched out
bunched.
like underneath?
but like long, like a
Yeah.
sleep shirt. Naked dress over a sleep shirt.
Oh my God.
Okay, wait, sorry, I interrupted.
So anyway, I think like some version of like, you go to those parties and it is a status thing at all times.
Yes.
And it's so, I love those parties. I love fucking schmoozing up a Hollywood party. Like I do love it. And I'm very able to maneuver through it. And then at points in the night, and then in retrospect of the night, I then judge numerous interactions as having been either a person who was like solicitous of someone who I wanted their attention and approval from, and then simultaneously deflecting of people in a way that is like not the person I would want to be at all times. Do you know what I mean?
So you're doing that, like your head hits the pillow and you're reviewing your night and you're sort
yes.
of, yeah.
And then also being like, I can't believe how well that went with that fucking person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I have all of those. Yeah.
But you have the moments of like, oh, I kind of felt like I wanted something I wasn't getting. And then like maybe there were times where I was being standoffish.
Yes.
Because I had some version of insecurity going, which feels to me impossible not to have at parties like that.
Yes.
Especially those
parties are a magnification of those moments.
Yeah.
And then ultimately,
Well, it is the high school on steroids.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
and then this is the name I will drop in it all.
Mouths open.
Lauren Sanchez and I were seated talking
Mrs. Bezos.
yeah,
Sure.
to be.
To be. Continued.
And it cuts to you next week on the pad, and it's Lauren Sanchez and Jeff
sitting
Bezos
here.
sitting right here,
Bessie long.
desperately waiting for your intro to end so they can start talking like me. So, but I finally, at the end of a very long night of like out and about, and I really do love it, and but I finally sat down into a couch, like, which is what you need to do.
You want to be that.
plan.
You want
You
that
gotta plan.
couch anchor.
And I'm seated next to eventually Megan Thee Stallion,
a friend of the show.
a friend who came and and that's the thing is she had liked Big Mouth, wanted to be on it. We
She
put
was
her
so
on the
great.
show. She's so fucking good.
And if she sits there, are you comfortable talking with her?
So
You're just
I
like,
go and introduce myself, and she's like, I know who you are. You know what I mean? And then we then start chatting, and we become like a fun hub of a fun, like a group of things, including then Paris Hilton sits down next to her.
My
And
dream
it's like
friend.
Natasha Lyonne and her boyfriend Bryn, and like a bunch of people who then it's like once I just like sat into a moment, and like it all like coalesced in a very fun, bizarre,
Yeah.
comfortable, interesting, like, you know, interaction.
Yeah. But the couch really does help. I feel like at like parties like that, you're like, if I can land on a seat so that I'm not, I can stop like buzzing around.
Yes.
You ground yourself. People are looking to be grounded.
Yes.
Well, and you're also deciding I'm going to sit with this person and make a commitment to at least the next 5 minutes that we're just tushies down.
Yeah.
Naked dress or not. And like we're having a kibitz over here on this couch.
Yeah.
And and that does
By the way, also Megan Thee Stallion was no longer in like the dress that I then saw her at the Vanity Fair party, which was like just like nipple pasties.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, that was
She
quite
was
a
not
dress.
seated, and just to be clear, she was in like a dress.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would it have been harder to feel normal had she just been in the nipple pasty dress?
Well, because I was still wearing my nipple pasty
Well, that
dress.
would have been
So it would've
embarrassing.
been like
My
someone
nipple pasty t-shirt.
who's going to change? Who's going to go change?
Yeah, her
This
body. I saw the picture. I went and had it printed at a t-shirt place. And so that would have been awkward.
Yeah, it would have been really awkward.
Stylist fired all around.
Yeah, that was a major name drop.
No, this is what we
to-
wanted.
but I
This is what
think,
we wanted.
but I do think the more over time, and the more that I've realized that I have, like, for whatever reason, become friends with the people I've become friends with. And really, I think it's that friends become this witness to your life. So whether you would be friends with that person if you met today doesn't matter. What matters is like these people have been with you your whole life, and there's something beautiful about someone remembering you at 13 to remind you who you were, to then inform who you are now, to see where you've changed and see where you are still the same for both good and bad, and that's all okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it speaks to how like normal of a person you are, how grounded you are as just like a human being who moves in the world in the circles that you move in on the couches with Megan Thee Stallion. You know, like you I think like when you are friends, when you keep friends from your childhood and from high school and college, like it's a mirror constantly to who you were. And so it sort of helps you remind yourself like that is who you still are, and you don't have to be something else. You don't have to pretend to, and maybe you can slip out of it, especially in this business and in Hollywood, like when you do meet people and then you end up being like, oh, why did I say that? Oh, I felt weird, because you were probably trying to be some other version of yourself. But like when you sit in a writer's room and Andrew is right there, like it's, how could you possibly be anybody but your true self with him?
True. And it's,
I remember seeing the movie Stand By Me with my besties like when I was 12 years old, and I love that movie so much. And we were having like a sleepover night with like my friend's mom was like not there, and we're like, ooh, no one's here. We watched a little like Skinamax, and then we all got like really disturbed by it, and I turned it off, and then we watched Stand By Me, and so it was like about being that age and having those friendships. And there's that line in that movie where I want to say it's Will Wheaton says like, you never have friends like you do when you're 13. And I don't know, do you think that that's true, that like that moment in time, like you're just like seeing my son now who's going to be 10, there's just like you're learning how to be a human being at the same time that you're also learning how to be a friend. And there is, I think, something so, I don't know, just like magical and tender about that. And when you do continue to have that person, it's so special. Yeah.
I really have weirdly, as I'm talking to you guys, like these real pockets of people from all of these moments. And I think that, so I have weird feelings of tender, because I feel like every moment of your life is this weird tender moment of like, or you're like, oh, well, that's the woman I became best friends with in my 40s when I was going through X, Y, or Z. And this is the person who got me through my 30s when I came to LA, whatever, you know what I mean? So but yes, there is something, that particular moment in time, it's why the show I think worked, is because it's just such a seminal period of time. It's just so formative, because you are coming into consciousness on a deep level, that you are truly learning how to be with people. It's also some of the most the people who you hate and think about the who punish you for your whole life are the people who you came into contact with in that time of life as well.
Like the negative voice in your head.
Yes, the negative, the bully, the negative voice in your head.
Oh yeah,
is equally, if not more, potent than some people's the friendships they made in that era.
I 100%. I feel like when we were doing the episodes in Big Mouth about the camp friend.
Yeah.
I didn't go to like summer camp, but I had like a couple of little like your class is going for 3 days, wherever. And I have like a memory of being at this camp and this one girl saying something to me that was so devastating.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never.
What did she say?
It wasn't even the sentence. It was like, she had sort of muscled in on my best friendship with another girl.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and now she was maybe like, I was jealous.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like a moment, and she had like the most clothes, and she brought these like striped polo shirts. Like she had multiple striped polo shirts. And we're like, maybe we'll all wear the polo shirts. But there wasn't enough to go around. Yeah. And then I put one on, like she was like, here, you could try this one on. And then I tried it on, and she was really generally kind of mean to me. And she was like, it doesn't look good on you. I think you shouldn't wear the shirt. And it was like, you don't look good. It was also her way of like, me and your best friend are going to wear the shirts without you. Yeah. I just remember being so fucking crushed.
Yeah.
Crushed.
Yeah.
I now feel like I understand you better.
This is why I need so much reassurance.
Yes,
Do I look good in a striped shirt?
Because I can't tell you how many texts I've, and friend groups of ours that like, you're like, should I buy this thing? Do I look good in this?
I need a lot.
Yes. And
I need a lot of reassurance.
This little bitch's fault.
It's all this fucking bitch.
When you said the thing about like the bully, I immediately went to this guy who was in my 6th grade class who called me flat-chested.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
That's such a specific moment.
I honestly think about it at least once a week.
I know it's hard to believe now, but I was very flat-chested for a long time. And this kid in my class made up a song about the boob sizes of all the girls in the class.
I mean.
And there was the line about me being so flat-chested.
Did it rhyme?
No. It wasn't a great song.
Okay.
I mean, it was not a banger. But no, that shit fucking sticks.
It really sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember like anything positive anybody ever said to me, but I remember.
I don't think anyone ever did
when this motherfucker was like, you're flat-chested. So we do a thing on the show.
We call it's either ravioli moment.
Great moments in friendship.
Great moments in friendship. I call it ravioli moment because I have a story about one of my friend Zubeda, who you know.
Of course.
When I was pregnant, was having a really hard time. She came from Washington Heights to Brooklyn, and she made me ravioli. Really nice. So we were wondering if you have a great moment in friendship in your life of any kind or stripe.
We had a New Year's with Manzukis and Christy, and it was like there was like, I don't know, 5 of 10 of us maybe, and we were all single. Like all of us were the single ones.
Was this in Mexico?
No, this was in like Big Bear.
Okay.
And I was just thinking about it because we called ourselves like that New Year's, like the Island of Lost Toys. You know what I mean? It was like we were all it was like early 30s, and some people had gotten coupled off and whatever. And like, there was like a group of us who were just like, and we were driving up to Big Bear. We stopped at a Target to get food for the house, and we bought Hello Kitty pajamas, like kid.
Yeah.
And we wore them to the New Year's. At some point on New Year's Eve, we both changed into these like little girl nightgown Hello Kitty pajamas. It's online. The picture's online.
Yeah.
But I just remember that, I don't know why this popped into my head, but I was like, I remember about Jason, who I consider a dear friend of mine.
The greatest, but also like during COVID, so deep in his own phobias that I actually, it was hard for a friendship with him because he just was so incapable of being like in the world in any way. But emotionally such an important friend of mine.
a guy for me, like there, because the thing is, and this is what I want to come. I'm going to come back to the pod because what I do want to talk about, and I'm sorry to do this because I'm going to just. What I want to talk about is the issue that of adult male friendships.
Yeah,
because they are really hard to come by. They don't work the same way that women work with each other.
No,
and need each other, and it's a major issue right now for men.
definitely.
Yeah.
And it's such a hard plight for us, and I want to get into that.
It's true.
Even
But
though I will wear a women's stand-up comedy.
No, you're an ally, and we all know you're an ally.
But I think you're right, and it is. I think something that you hear a lot. Like men just have a very difficult time maintaining real deep friendship.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so for example, Jason and I have I think a really emotionally gratifying friendship when we get to be with each other. We cut right through it and can talk about big stuff, important stuff. But that year, I just remember feeling like probably not exactly something he would normally do, but he was willing to like get Hello Kitty pajamas for us to wear at the night in the middle of this, like, New Year's. That was sort of like, everyone was probably a little like, what am I doing? What the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
We're like a decent freezing cabin and in Big Bear.
Well, especially if in a moment that everyone is like, oh, we're all single, like, and that's funny and fun, but also there's a little like, would love to be at the When Harry Met Sally moment where you're like, but to have like a moment where you're having so much fun with your male friend and being silly, and you're like, right now, this feels like a fucking great New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Like I've had those with friends.
Yeah. And then we made ravioli.
And then you made fucking ravioli.
From egg, with an egg batter ravioli.
And then he died.
And I hired a man in Rancho Cucamonga who looked exactly like him to play Jason Mantzoukas.
And that's been Jason Mantzoukas for the last 15 years.
He's known in the podcast space as Jeffrey Characterweedies. You guys can go check out. You internet sleuths, you go find it. There's a paper trail going back many years. Maybe
you and Jason Mantzoukas should do the male counterpart to this podcast, and you should do Here to Male Friends.
I would
Here to Male Friends.
Yeah, and we could pitch you Brolas.
And then we'll make sure that you guys get paid like 80% more.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, and be massive cultural forces.
Yes.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us.
So much for being
Thanks for having me.
What a goddamn pleasure. Do you have anything that you want to tell people about?
You have something to plug?
Yeah, I want to talk about vaccinations.
Cool.
I want to talk. No,
for real.
Yeah, for real.
This is a good platform for me.
Vaccinate your kids, people.
Yeah, people.
Oh, no.
Oh, don't.
Oh, wait. Actually, so it's been great having you.
Here's what I got to promote.
Yeah.
The final season of Big Mouth, starring Jessi Klein.
God bless
and
her.
many others. Well, it's the Jessi Klein show.
It's really the Jessi Klein show, but I couldn't do it without Village.
So the last season of that's coming out end of May.
Do we have a date?
We do.
Okay.
But probably by the time this comes out, May 23rd.
Fantastic. It's a good birthday
Then
present
I got a threefer. I got a threefer that I'm going to be out hitting the pavement hard. You guys are the first ones in.
Love some fresh
stuff.
The
following week, I don't know when this date will be announced. The show Adults that I produced and directed some of for FX, 20-somethings in New York that I'm making.
Nice. That's so exciting.
Very exciting. It's very fun to now revisit, frankly, like what friendships in your 20s in New York are like.
Very specific and very fun and interesting.
Yes, and so I really associate you. We didn't really know each other.
We didn't know each other.
But we really knew each other in our 20s in New York, and so like you're really so. I was thinking a lot about that time in our life when trying to help.
Wait, and what day does it come out?
May 28th, 29th.
So
you got a big end of May.
I didn't realize it was going to be coming out so soon.
And then the following week, June 6th, me and Andrew Reynolds have a movie that we made together in Italy called I Don't Understand You.
Incredible.
That more than anything for this audience, that's the only thing I expect you guys to go see.
Okay. You've heard it here.
Okay.
You need to go see.
If you're going to see one of 3 Kroll things.
You're going to see all of them. They're all going to see all of them.
I'm going to see them all.
They're going to see them all.
Yeah, I'm going to see them all.
I am going to see them all.
I'm going to see them all.
Well, one of them.
One of
Honey. No, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I mean, for lazy bones like you, it's pretty good
Those
turnout.
are the things.
Those are the
Those
things.
are the things I need to promote. But then I also just quickly want to promote, getting a pet.
Hey, thanks for listening. Follow us on social media at Here to Make Friends Pod and let us know who you think we should make friends with next. Email us at htmfpod@gmail.com and go out and make a friend.
Go make a friend.
Go make a friend.
That was a Headgum podcast.